Welcome back to the podcast. Today I have with me Monique Gomez. Monique, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monique Gomez. I am a certified trauma and resilience life coach, former mental health clinician, and I help people move away from their old stories and stand in their authentic truth.
Amazing. I love it. And okay, so I'm always interested in this. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Yes, so fun. There's so much background. I won't go all the way,
Hmm.
way, way. I won't go to the way, way back. But my
Come on, like when
dream,
you were born?
yeah,
Just kidding.
basically, not there. We won't go that far. But the idea was to always become a mental health clinician and to work in schools and with prevention, etc. And so as I was working in school to do that, I discovered massage in high school, got certified as a licensed massage therapist here in the state of Arizona, and then found a passion for it and found that it was so deeply connected to the nervous system work, the psychology, the social work that I was, now, studying in that time period. And so I just kept massage on hand while I was in my W-2 work and agency work, working with children and families on attachment, trauma, and all the things, sitting in the yuck. So fun.
Mhm.
I also have a lot of birth to five experience, which I think has helped me so much with the story component of what I do. And that's why I love stories. I think everyone loves stories. I think that's how we relate to each other. And that's why I love podcasting and being interviewed on podcasts because it's such a beautiful way to connect with everyone in the world
Mhm.
because we all have similar stories that can connect and that resonate with each other.
Yeah, and I think that it's so important because so often we're always thinking that it's just us. We're always like, oh no, it's just me. Like no one else is experiencing this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never that. And it's not that like someone might be going through the exact same thing, but there is someone out there that's going through a similar experience.
100%.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about what do you call it again? Now I forgot the name of it. So you
That's all
have
right.
to
I kind of
answer
created this
that.
name. There's not, I'm sure
Okay.
there's maybe like a psychological theory behind it, but I call it theirs versus ours. And
Mhm.
this distinction really mostly comes from, again, the parenting attachment work that I used to do, where we are becoming our own person, right? Creating our own identity. And usually in the work that I do with changing our story, it involves changing our identity, which of
Yeah.
course looks back at those attachments between our parents and any other attachments with other strong relationships, whether that's a partner, whether that's BFFs, whatever that means to you. And then separating, because a few different reasons we can separate is when the other person has different viewpoints or perspectives,
Hmm.
right? And we see this in the political sphere, right? As in the last 8+ years, I would say, where
Yep.
people were strongly divided on lots of different issues. And that's where the theirs versus us can come through. The other way theirs versus us can come through is just in our general values. Like the one
Hmm.
example I can think of off the top of my head, I am for sure a city girl. And
Yeah.
some of my old friends that I'm no longer friends with are very much like wilderness girls. And even some of my recent clients have been, part of that world. And I have no idea what that means or what that looks like. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of that theirs versus us scenario as well. But I think what we're here to talk about is more of that regulation piece and navigating not just tough conversations, but tough relationships that kind of have to hold on to.
Yeah, because I think that it's so interesting and it comes up in our personal life, it comes up in business, all different kinds of areas. So I want to hear first, before we go into like the business aspect of it, how do you work with your clients on this?
Oh my gosh. I love this. A lot of my clients, they're super self-aware, so they already know that there are differences between our parents and ourselves. And so that's kind of what we do with the belief exercise that I do.
Hmm.
Tara, I believe you and I have completed this together as well. And so when we
Yeah.
dive into these different beliefs, whether it's love, whether it's intimacy, money, regardless of whatever that client's coming in with that they want to work on and change, the beliefs will tell us like, oh, that's from my mom. Oh, that's from my dad. Oh my God, I'm still acting like my mom, or I'm still acting like my dad in these XYZ behaviors. And so we sit, and sometimes this is a process in and of itself and a goal in and of itself where it's like, okay, you now have all these things in front of you that we've uncovered, which is totally okay. Part of this work is acknowledging
Hmm.
that's them, this is me. Yes, I still have behaviors like that, but that is because of how I was raised. That is part of my neural pathways that are take time to change. And that's what I'm doing this here with Monique. I almost said Miss Monique. Oh my God. No one's called me Miss Monique in so long. But yeah, so that's really what it looks like. And that continues to come through as my clients change and right make these identity changes and these behavioral changes with skills from
Hmm.
their history. And even when we're doing the timeline activity, the safe net, which is huge component of my work, they get to see another outside perspective of an old history experience with that caregiver, and they're saying things in the frontal lobe, right? Instead of feeling and reacting to that old experience with their parent guardian, they're like, oh, I see where they thought this and I thought this, and we
Hmm.
both just couldn't agree, and it is what it is, right? There's no hard feelings, there's no animosity. It's really just kind of accepting the facts as they lay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's so good to work on because I think a lot of people have a hard time with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something to, it's hard to come to terms with that because we don't want to. We want to
Right.
fight against the fact that we don't have the same values or the same beliefs or the same thoughts. We
Mm-hmm.
want we want it to be the same.
Right.
We don't like that it's not.
Yeah, we want to negotiate. And it's so funny that this is coming up because I just met with someone who uses a negotiation standpoint with apologies. And it's so
Mm,
interesting to me when we can come to a logical place like what I just described, right? Seeing all the facts of who they are, who I am, and then trying to negotiate or teach them whether they
mhm.
want to learn or not, right? Because we always have that need, right? Even now with my mom, I'm like, so this is what I'm learning in investments. Are you open to like hearing my financial coach out? It's
Yeah.
obviously a no, but like it's still we try. We want to try because we know and sense and feel the changes that happen within us, and we want everyone else to see it too.
Yeah.
It comes from
Yeah.
a place of helping, right?
Yeah. And I think it's still, like you said, it's still totally fine to go there and see if there is any opportunity to talk about it and discuss things and, see what happens. But on the other side of that, you have to be okay with the fact that it may not change the circumstance.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. And that's the acceptance piece, right? And a lot of therapists talk about acceptance, but I think what's most important and what I like to teach in my coaching is the focus on yourself component.
Hmm.
Because when we, lay the cards out on the table and we want to help, our parents, for example, right? My mom be financially stable, et cetera, we when there's a no or there's a blockage or a barrier between us, it's like, okay, there's nothing I can do. The only thing I can control is myself and where I want to go and my goals and my dreams and my duties, responsibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it literally comes down to.
So beautiful.
And that's a great segue into the business side of it
Yes, it is.
because that's exactly the same thing. When we are
Mhm.
looking at what we're doing in business, that's all you got to focus on. You don't need to worry about all the other shit that's out there and what everyone else is telling you, what everyone else's thoughts are. Like opinions are going to be strong, probably just on the fact that you are going into entrepreneurship. A lot of people don't understand it and probably just won't get it in general.
Right.
There's going to be that, but there's also going to be things that you're going to deal with online. There's going to be trolls. There's going to be like a ton of stuff. And it's just knowing that, people can have different opinions
Mhm.
and you just let it fall where it is.
Yeah, and I think I can't remember who I was chatting with about this, but there's this disappointment emotion that we get stuck in, and where a lot of, especially young entrepreneurs, get stuck in is like,
Hmm.
oh, I expected it to be this, or I really wished, my mom would be full throttle on this business with me. And it's like, that's not what happened. And I'm disappointed. But it's like, we hold on to that disappointment instead of letting it go. Instead of,
Yeah.
like you said, focusing on the strategy or building your business however you want to, or, taking in everyone's opinions and then deciphering for yourself logically
Yeah.
what you like, what you want to test out, what trial and error you want to go through, because it is your business. And that's where I think people get so, I just imagine like a ship getting like rocked in the ocean because of
Hmm.
all these, right? People, fans, opinions, high school people, everybody has an
Yeah.
opinion on your business. But when you're not stable in your own why,
Hmm.
that's when you can, really be that boat that's like about to capsize because everyone else's opinions and hatred or what have you, trolling is going to tip your boat over.
Yeah. And I mean, they say you haven't made it until you've gotten some troll comments. So if you have, there's that for you.
That's always good. I don't think I have had any trolls. I almost wish I had trolls, Sarah, because I'm like, maybe I'm just too good at this. Is that what that means? Like, I don't like everyone just loves me.
Definitely.
What?
I guess I have.
I think I saw that on your page that someone was trolling you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Tara's the sweetest.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I have. And some of my clients have, and I'm just like, so these are your options. You can respond. That's
Hmm.
always an option. You can respond. You can be an asshole back. I don't know what that's going to get you. Nowhere, really.
Right.
You can ignore it. Depending on what it is, that's usually what I choose because, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's some person that's scrolling by and left a comment on something that you posted on the internet. Like, do you actually want to work with them? Probably not. So,
Yeah.
comment whatever you want. Like, it's not a big deal. You can block the comment, you can block the person. If they're bothering you that much, you have those options.
Hmm.
But it doesn't have to go on and like ruin your day.
Hmm. Doesn't have to mean true things about you.
No, no. And that's totally the other part of it too. Like, it's really, and I talk to my son actually about this a lot because he deals with this in high school. This is a big thing. And
Yeah.
it always comes down to, is that true? Well, if it's not true, why are you letting it bother you?
Hmm. That's why I love the mindset work that I do in my program, because it's like asking that question, is it true? And then all you can think about is, I know it's not true, but I can't stop believing it. Or I know it's not true, but it feels true to me because of
Hmm.
XYZ, right? Some history thing that happened once that
Yeah.
destroyed you.
Yeah.
And you're believing this one situation when there's likely at least three other situations,
Hmm.
experiences that prove that that is not true about you. But
Yeah.
yet we love to hold on to that one negative thing that is, one time I made a big mistake and it haunted me for life. And so it must be true that I am just this horrible person who makes mistakes.
Yeah. Obviously. And it's like, I don't know of a single person that has not made mistakes, that has not screwed up in some way, that hasn't done something dumb. If there is
Mhm.
someone out there that's telling you that they haven't, like, come on. No, don't be their friend. Just kidding. But like,
And that's how we learn too, right? Like, and that's what this, I think for me, when I got behind some of this theirs versus us, right? The comparison trap, all the I'm not good enough, what have you. It's feeling good on the journey of this roller coaster of entrepreneurship, which is
Mhm.
really getting used to quote unquote failure as feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's huge because a lot of like it's just it's uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is though, like all of us go through it. There's no one that's immune to it, even the people that are at, the highest levels, quote unquote, they go through it too. There is
Mm-hmm.
no person online that doesn't encounter this.
Right.
So,
It's
yeah.
part of being human, and I think that's why I'm here to explain that to everybody, because it's part of our brain. Our brain likes to categorize things and put, the really good entrepreneurs in one box and the
Hmm.
middle people in the middle box, and then the new beginners who are just dummies in this dummy box, when really
Yeah.
that's not true. We all experience the same thing. Like you said,
Yeah.
we've all experienced this imposter syndrome that goes through every entrepreneur and can and does come back.
Exactly. I was thinking about, yeah, I was on a walk the other day and I was thinking about this, and it's just like in life. You weren't born at like 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's how old I am now. So that's why I say that. I wasn't born right like now. You were born and you grew up. These entrepreneurs who are years ahead or, at whatever stage they're in, they weren't just implanted like at that moment. And that's when their business began. No, they had to like go through all of the shit beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
just like everyone else.
I love that. I had a thought and then it flew away. It was something along the lines of this theirs versus us, because the comparison trap will end your journey super early, especially if you're a new
Mhm.
entrepreneur. And I think that's why mindset work, like I said, going back to that, it's so crucial.
Yeah.
And Tara, I mean, like I said, we had that one consult and you did amazing at changing that thought, even though it was a personal story. But like, I can see how you having that resilience
Hmm.
to know that's not true about me. Here's what I'm doing. Here's my goal. Here's my why. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and look at what success it's brought me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so important to challenge those things because, like you said, if you don't do it and you just stay stuck in it, that's what's going to end it for you. That's what's going to make you stop
Mm-hmm.
because you can, like, it's mindset and it's strategy, and you can try to strategize your way out of it. But if your mindset is also shit, it's only going to take you so far.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. And that speaks to too, like um being with a coach, right? Or being with someone who you're strategizing with, like a business coach, for example, and then they're doing something that you've never tried,
Hmm.
but you try it, and then the thoughts come in because the mindset work needs to also happen too with the strategy. But then again, it's that trial and error of, okay, so and so told me to do this, so I'm practicing it and it's kind of working, but it's kind of not. Um and then I get stuck again, and then you do this mindset work, and then you're like, oh, okay, I gotta just see why I'm stuck, and then change that part of the stuckness and try again.
Hmm. Well, exactly. And I don't understand when people say all because I have seen this and I saw it recently actually on a post by someone, and they were like, it definitely was not mostly mindset work. And I'm not saying that it's mostly one or the other, but they were like, no, it wasn't the mindset work. It was just strategy. And I just like pushed through and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, but you had to actually be able to push yourself through because there were hard
Mm-hmm.
times and you had to be able to tell yourself to keep going. That's still mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And that's a place, and it brings us back to our topic, because it's like we love to devalue what we've already worked so hard on, right? Like you said,
mhm,
someone went through a strategy program, they did okay, right, moderate, what have you, fair. And then they're like, that didn't work because I didn't have this result, right? This expectation. And that's
Yeah.
where this theirs versus us thing, it's all about the expectation.
Hmm.
And so shifting that next to seeing the facts, right? And I talk about this in my own podcast episode, theirs versus ours. The expectations are crucial to always look at and check, whether it's
Hmm.
personal, whether it's business. What is my expectation going into this strategy, group or coaching
Yeah.
business connection? What is my expectation with, paying for this ad for this one event?
Hmm.
What is my expectation with collaborating with Tara? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's all these different expectations we need to check
Yeah.
and make sure that they stay the same, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Because if you came in here expecting to make millions off this podcast, I'm sorry to inform you that won't be happening.
I love it. No, 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 no. My expectation was to have an awesome conversation with my friend Tara, and that's
Yeah.
that's what it is. And I think when more entrepreneurs at any stage come for the expectation of a couple things: education, love, and deep connection,
Hmm.
or fulfilling their why.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is when the other people involved in the environment does
Hmm.
it don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. And when you really focus on those things, everything else falls into place.
Mhm. I want to cry. It's so beautiful. Happy tears.
Oh, it's the first time anyone's ever told me that. I will cherish this moment.
I love it though, Tara, because it's like
Yeah.
me and my business where I'm now, everything is so perfect,
Hmm.
but there's still so much responsibility. And again, it does go back to those skills of, okay, what is my expectation for this? And it sucks because you don't want to do that work. You don't want
Yeah.
to go back and be like, well, I made this choice. I need to not think about it ever again. No,
Yeah.
you made the choice and you're a business owner. So now you got to come back to it and make sure that it's still aligned with, your business goals, the next quarter,
Hmm.
your financial goals, right? Who you are as a human, all these things.
Yeah.
And so you can't just make rash decisions anymore at this point. And for me, like having
Hmm.
so much more virtual options now in my coaching, I like at home now, Kara, and I'm just like, whoa, I did not expect to be at home like this
Yeah.
with just a couple tweaks to the business plan. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, shit, am I gonna binge watch something and like fall back into old patterns and do what my mom does when she gets home? Or am I gonna like really, you know, fulfill myself, fulfill the business? Because these are working hour days and I do love what I do, but it's really going back to connecting with yourself,
Hmm.
not listening to anybody else's, view of how they spend their virtual coaching life and
Hmm.
creating that for myself. And so that's why, like I said, I'm getting emotional about it and happy tears because I think it just reminds us all that it all stems from our expectations and we
Yeah.
create those for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And that it's so huge. And I find if we just really focus on that and look at, what your expectations are and actually be realistic about it. And like, what do you want to do? Not who, like, literally, who cares what everyone else is doing? Like, who
Mhm.
cares? What do you want to do? Get back to focusing on that. And that's the only thing that you need to worry about.
So true. And we want to our brain wants to complicate it when it's literally
Mhm.
that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Like, it sounds so easy, and it actually is. That, well, thinking that part of it. Yeah.
Mhm. Thinking, but the doing is the next step,
Yeah.
right? Now I
Yeah.
got to figure out what I do at my virtual days.
Yeah.
Give myself more virtual things to do.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Well, where can people find you? What do you have going on right now?
Oh my gosh, so much. So right now I have in the middle of a pre-launch for building regulation, which is my smallest coaching container. It includes with the pre-sale, I messed up, 5 one-on-one sessions with me where we go in and pull skills from your history to use for your regulation. And then a 6-week group likely in August. So you get me for lots and lots of times. That is on pre-sale $125 for 12 months, and you get all of the virtual resources involved in that. If you have more questions, they can DM me. I have free gifted consultations. I think they will be in the link in the show notes. If not, you can always DM me. Instagram is my hangout spot. Monique Gomez _ the coach is where you can find me. I answer pretty quickly.
Amazing. That's so awesome. Yes, so definitely go check her out. Go check out all of the things. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Okay.
Yes. And if you are watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're on the podcast, I'd love a 5 stars rating, review, rating. I don't know, whatever,
Yep.
review,
Rating and review, both of
you
them.
know, all the things. And I will catch you in the next one.